A senior Israeli cybersecurity official was allegedly hunting children online, according to U.S. authorities. When FBI agents knocked on Artiom Alexandrovich's door in Nevada, they found something that would shock the intelligence community. The alleged acting head of Israel's cyber operations had been caught in a federal sting targeting child predators. Not exactly the cybersecurity resume you want on LinkedIn. But here's the twist that makes this case even more disturbing. After his arrest, Alexandrovich didn't stay behind bars. He was released and immediately fled back to Israel, leaving investigators scrambling and victims without justice. How did someone with his background and alleged crimes simply walk away? To understand this betrayal, we need to examine the man who allegedly orchestrated it from within Israel's digital fortress. Artiom Alexandrovich reportedly held one of the most sensitive positions in Israeli intelligence. As the alleged acting head of Israel's Cyber Operations Division, he commanded respect across international security circles. His colleagues knew him as a brilliant strategist who understood the dark corners of the internet. Government officials trusted him with classified digital infrastructure. Allied nations shared cybersecurity secrets with him. If he knew how investigators tracked predators, how did investigators catch him? The answer lies in understanding both his reported access and the investigation's crucial turning points. Alexandrovich's daily responsibilities allegedly included safeguarding Israel's power grids, financial networks, and military communication systems. He analyzed threats from hostile nations attempting to breach Israeli defenses. Critical infrastructure protecting millions of Israeli citizens reportedly relied on his expertise. His position would have provided access to surveillance tools and encryption methods that most agencies could only dream of. But investigators believe Alexandrovich was leading a double life. While he spent his days protecting Israeli children from online predators, authorities allege he spent his nights targeting American children through encrypted chat applications. The same digital anonymity tools he used to protect Israeli assets allegedly became weapons in his crimes. For survivors and parents, the betrayal runs deeper than a headline. His position provided perfect cover for suspicious online activity. Alexandrovich routinely accessed foreign networks as part of his legitimate intelligence work. His internet traffic passed through multiple countries and encrypted channels. Any unusual digital behavior could be explained as operational necessity. The technical sophistication at his disposal was staggering. If true, his training and contacts could have given him insight into common investigative techniques used by law enforcement. He understood which communication platforms were monitored and which ones flew under the radar. His knowledge of digital forensics meant he could potentially erase evidence before investigators found it. International cybersecurity partnerships made his alleged betrayal even more damaging. American, British, and European intelligence services regularly consulted with Alexandrovich on major cyber threats. They shared classified methodologies for tracking criminals across the dark web. These same techniques could potentially be reversed and used against the agencies that taught them. His reputation within Israeli intelligence was reportedly spotless. Superiors praised his analytical skills and technical innovation. He briefed senior government officials on national security threats. The Israeli cybersecurity community viewed him as one of their rising stars. When Alexandrovich attended international conferences, foreign intelligence officers sought his insights on emerging threats. He presented research on child exploitation networks operating across multiple continents. The man warning other agencies about online predators was allegedly operating as one himself. His reported expertise made him both a formidable protector of Israeli national security and potentially one of the most dangerous predators law enforcement had ever encountered. The same skills that made him invaluable to his government allegedly made him nearly impossible to catch. Despite his technical advantages and insider knowledge, American investigators had somehow identified his activities and traced his digital footprints across multiple encrypted networks to a location in Nevada. Even the most sophisticated operators make mistakes. The FBI had been following Alexandrovich's digital footprints for months, tracking patterns that would eventually lead them to Nevada. The investigation began when FBI cybercrime specialists noticed unusual patterns in chat room activity targeting minors. A username kept appearing across multiple encrypted platforms used by online predators. The account holder demonstrated advanced technical knowledge that set them apart from typical suspects. They understood operational security measures that most criminals never learned. FBI analysts spent weeks mapping the suspect's digital behavior. They documented communication patterns across encrypted messaging apps and anonymous chat platforms. The suspect operated during specific time windows that suggested they lived in the Middle East or Europe. Their technical discussions revealed familiarity with government-grade cybersecurity tools. The breakthrough came when analysts identified a recurring digital signature in the suspect's communications. Despite using multiple identities and encrypted channels, subtle programming quirks appeared in their messages. The suspect had customized their encryption software in ways that created a unique fingerprint. FBI programmers reverse-engineered these modifications to trace their origin. Working around Alexandrovich's countermeasures required unprecedented cooperation between multiple federal agencies. Other federal resources were tapped to provide signals intelligence typically reserved for foreign threats. Cybercrime specialists from 3 field offices coordinated their efforts to avoid detection. Building a case against someone who understood law enforcement methods presented unique challenges. Alexandrovich knew which communication platforms the FBI monitored regularly. He avoided techniques that typically exposed online predators to investigation. His messages contained no obvious evidence that would survive legal challenges in federal court. The investigation team had to develop new approaches for this suspect. They created fake online identities with backgrounds sophisticated enough to fool an intelligence professional. Their undercover personas required detailed histories that could withstand scrutiny from someone trained in spotting deception. The evidence that convinced FBI leadership came from financial records linking cryptocurrency transactions to accounts used by the suspect. Alexandrovich had allegedly purchased services using digital currencies that investigators traced through multiple transactions. His operational security had one fatal flaw. He consistently used the same wallet addresses across multiple transactions. Diplomatic norms required coordination with Israeli authorities, complicating the probe. The FBI walked a narrow line between investigating suspected crimes and maintaining critical international relationships. Travel records revealed Alexandrovich's frequent trips to the United States for cybersecurity conferences and intelligence meetings. His visitor visa allowed extended stays that coincided with the suspect's online activity periods. Investigators correlated his presence in America with increased communications from the suspect they were tracking. Location analysis narrowed his activities to the western United States during his most recent visit. Cell phone data allegedly placed him in Nevada when several concerning online conversations occurred. Hotel records and rental car agreements created a timeline that matched the suspect's communication patterns. Despite his expertise in digital anonymity, Alexandrovich had allegedly made critical mistakes that exposed both his identity and current location. His sophisticated countermeasures couldn't overcome basic investigative work combining financial records, travel documents, and communication analysis. With those threads in hand, the FBI began planning a carefully orchestrated operation designed to capture one of the most technically sophisticated suspects in their database. On a quiet Nevada morning, federal agents moved to execute the arrest that would cap months of investigation. The sting operation required weeks of preparation. FBI coordinators assembled a tactical team experienced in high-risk arrests. They studied Alexandrovich's daily routines and identified his temporary residence at a hotel in the area. Surveillance teams documented his movements for 3 days before the planned arrest. Agents positioned themselves throughout the hotel property before dawn. Tactical officers secured the floor and stairwells. The arrest team approached during a narrow window in the morning when his location was certain. Alexandrovich opened the door after the second knock. He appeared calm despite facing federal agents in tactical gear. The lead agent identified himself and displayed credentials while other agents secured the area. Alexandrovich nodded and stepped backward into his room, making no sudden movements. His reaction surprised the arrest team. Alexandrovich showed no signs of panic or resistance. He quietly asked to see their warrant before complying with instructions. One investigator later described his behavior as eerily professional. Agents seized multiple devices and storage media containing encrypted communications and other materials investigators say are relevant to the case. His smartphone held messaging apps configured with advanced security settings. Additional materials included sophisticated tools typically restricted to intelligence agencies. Handling the arrest of a foreign intelligence official required extraordinary diplomatic care. Federal protocol required notifying the State Department and Israeli consular officials. Investigators said they followed those steps within hours of the arrest. The search revealed additional evidence supporting the charges. Investigators discovered printed communications with suspected accomplices operating in multiple countries. His travel documents showed patterns consistent with the online behavior they had tracked. Financial records confirmed cryptocurrency transactions linked to the investigation. Processing Alexandrovich at the federal building created logistical challenges. His intelligence background meant standard interrogation techniques would be ineffective. Prosecutors and international legal experts were immediately looped in. News of the arrest spread through law enforcement channels within hours. FBI headquarters briefed other federal agencies about the capture. International partners received notifications about potential security breaches involving shared intelligence. The arrest created immediate concerns about compromised operations and methods. The sting operation successfully captured Alexandrovich with sufficient evidence for federal prosecution. Digital forensics teams began analyzing the seized materials while prosecutors prepared formal charges. The investigation had produced one of the most significant arrests in the FBI's cybercrime division. But even after that tight operation, the case was about to take an unexpected turn that would leave everyone involved questioning how the justice system handles foreign intelligence officials accused of serious crimes. Within days of his arrest, Alexandrovich had vanished from American custody entirely. Federal prosecutors filed charges against Alexandrovich within 48 hours of his arrest. The indictment reportedly included multiple counts of using interstate commerce to facilitate crimes against children. Additional charges covered possession of materials used to exploit minors and conspiracy to commit federal crimes. Each count carried potential sentences ranging from 10 to 20 years in federal prison. The initial court appearance took place in Las Vegas federal court 3 days after the arrest. Alexandrovich appeared calm and answered questions through a court-appointed translator. He entered not guilty pleas to all charges while prosecutors outlined their evidence. Prosecuting a foreign intelligence official on American soil created unprecedented legal complications. The State Department coordinated with Israeli authorities to address diplomatic immunity questions. Federal prosecutors consulted international law experts to ensure their case wouldn't violate treaty obligations. Defense attorneys immediately raised jurisdictional challenges that could derail the entire prosecution. What happened next shocked everyone involved in the case. Despite prosecutors' objections about flight risk, a federal judge granted Alexandrovich's request for bail and ordered his release on bond. The suspect posted bail and then vanished soon after. The speed of his departure caught federal authorities completely off guard. Alexandrovich disappeared from his monitored location within days of his release. By the time officials realized he had fled, monitors were disabled and agents lost track of the suspect after he left the monitored location. According to later reports, he had crossed international borders and returned to Israel through undisclosed routes. The diplomatic complications erupted immediately after his flight became known. Israeli authorities claimed they had no advance knowledge of his escape plans. American diplomats demanded his immediate extradition under existing treaties. Israeli officials reportedly disputed U.S. requests, saying their domestic law limits extradition of citizens, producing diplomatic friction between longtime allies. Federal prosecutors found themselves scrambling to prevent other suspects from following Alexandrovich's escape route. They filed emergency motions to deny bail for defendants with similar international backgrounds. The case exposed dangerous gaps in monitoring foreign intelligence officials charged with serious crimes. Court systems lacked protocols for handling suspects with sophisticated operational training. FBI agents who had spent months building the case expressed frustration at the system's failure. The specialized techniques developed for this case became worthless once the suspect fled American jurisdiction. Victims who cooperated with the investigation reportedly felt blindsided by his escape and abandoned by the legal system. Alexandrovich's successful flight demonstrated how easily sophisticated suspects could exploit weaknesses in international law enforcement cooperation and judicial oversight procedures. A successful sting operation and dramatic arrest had led to an even more dramatic escape, leaving behind a diplomatic and legal mess that highlighted fundamental problems in the system. The aftermath reveals how sophisticated suspects can exploit weaknesses between international jurisdictions and domestic legal systems. This case allegedly involved a senior Israeli cybersecurity official caught in an FBI sting operation targeting online predators, according to U.S. authorities. Investigators reportedly built their case through digital traces, financial records, and travel patterns that led them to Nevada. Despite the successful arrest and formal charges, the suspect fled American custody and returned to Israel, creating diplomatic complications that remain unresolved. The case left many questions unanswered about international cooperation in cybercrime prosecutions, according to authorities and advocates involved. This isn't just about geopolitics. Real victims deserve justice and answers. If you want more investigative breakdowns like this, hit that like button and subscribe. What do you think investigators could have done differently? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time on Crime Republic.